Hello, dear friends. This news is so important and priority that it has destroyed the article I was writing for hours. Journalism thinks that I am used to. This appears to be a scoop, but I have not gotten confirmation from other sources. Opinions piece. Is Cuba collapsing? Mexico on alert. Europe in debt. Failure in Ukraine. Banking collapse. Asian markets fall. A strong rise in copper. China dumped its bonds. Gold, silver, and platinum rebound. European markets will open lower. Let's start. The Cuban banking system has completely collapsed according to Hal Turner. Cubans are reporting through social networks that all their money has disappeared from their accounts and that all automated ATM machines have been emptied. This news is being heavily suppressed, but it's spreading slowly. However, according to Perplexity's artificial intelligence, they claim that the Cuban banking system has completely collapsed, with reports that all money has disappeared from accounts and all ATMs have been emptied, as Hal Turner claims, is not supported by other sources. In addition, the sources highlight the historical context of the Cuban banking system, its regulatory framework, and the role of the Central Bank of Cuba in maintaining stability and supervising monetary policies. According to Hal Turner, in banks across the country, angry mobs descended on banks where police attempted to turn them away. Instead, the mobs overturned police cars and sent officers fleeing. Everything was in vain. The banks were not only closed, but they were also empty. The people who entered found vaults open. They weren't even broken into and had no cash. He adds that the Cuban people have been left without economic resources. They have no way to buy food. They are desperate and afraid. Many people say, in quotes, this is the final destination. This is where globalism wants to take us to the apocalypse. Close quotes. Cubans were forced to adopt the digital banking system and are now financially ruined with no recourse. They say that the Cuban government will soon offer citizens a universal basic income. Americas. Mexico on alert. The hurricane season begins in the Pacific and Atlantic. Political violence clouds the electoral panorama in Mexico. They warn that some 250,000 minors could be recruited for crime in Mexico. The relationship between Mexico and the USA at risk due to the imposition of tariffs on China. The Mexican government affirms that the electrical system has been never at risk after the blackouts. The IMF projects that the Argentine economy will grow from the second half of 2024. Argentine researchers, with support from NASA, search for extraterrestrial life. Colombia is willing to integrate a UN peacekeeping force in Palestine. Hooded men take over a department of the National University in Bogota. Peru's interior minister resigns after withdrawing his support for anti-corruption prosecutors. The elected president of Panama announces his ministerial cabinet. The BRICS Bank supports Brazil after it floods. Lula rejects the invitation to attend the summit on Ukraine in Switzerland. Solar storm. A late-arriving solar mass ejection struck Earth's magnetic field on May 16th, triggering a moderate G2 class solar storm. The storm subsided a few hours after it began, and now and has now passed. A rare auroras in the South Pacific confirmed the big storm. Nobody expected to see auroras on the island of New Caledonia in the South Pacific. Located about halfway between Tonga and Australia, the cigar-shaped island is too close to the equator to see the northern or southern lights. Curiously, this astronomical event has coincided with the armed uprising in the French colony of New Caledonia. According to Kerry Kay, the ascension has increased. The recent solar storms gave a huge update to the missioners of light, who in turn waved their update in the collective. This is time to be the highest version you can be. There is a massive rebalancing underway, with integration and realignment. This will give symptoms of ascension to some. There is an invitation to a higher version of yourself that has just been issued. According to Cobra, light forces have begun to slow the activity of the multidimensional Dyson sphere around the Sun to allow more solar activity to occur since early May, producing a massive solar storm last week. Because so many anomalies have disappeared, some people are already experiencing the beneficial effects of solar superstorms. Strong solar storms, like the last one, have the ability to disable nanotechnology. More solar activity will be allowed to occur, and lately we are receiving at least one X-class solar flare per day. Economy. Asia-Pacific markets fall. China dumps the largest amount of US treasuries in history. China is a critical global supplier. Fall declopping may be impossible. European markets will open lower after breaking a 9-day winning streak. Markets are underestimating geopolitical risk as a series of elections loom, says the ECB's De Guindos. The red-hot rally in gold, silver, and platinum still has a long way to go, strategists say. The UN raises world growth for this year by 0.3 to 2.7%. IMF says confiscation of Russian assets could undermine global monetary system. Copper rises to historical highs due to demand. The Dow Jones breaks the 40,000-point barrier, but then deflates. US companies seek to import Russian uranium despite the ban. Russia and the Islamic world begin the Kazan Forum Economic in Kazan. Delegates from more than 110 countries and territories will attend the St. Petersburg Economic Forum. Russia and China strengthen their alliance for a just world order. 90% of payments between Russia and China are made in rubles and yuan as trade grows. USA. Only 3% of immigrants recently arrived in New York found employment. Trump criticizes Biden for blocking RFK Jr. from debates. Trump says his vice president's announcement could wait until the Republican convention in July. The Satanic Temple is fighting against Christian nationalism. Europe. Europe at risk of adverse shocks due to its high debt. The GDP on the Eurozone overcomes the technical recession with an increase of 0.3% in the first quarter. The American media gently smears Norway for its gas export. Brussels files charges against Meta for failing to comply with rules for the protection of minor users of Instagram and Facebook. 15 EU countries advocate the transfer of immigrants to safe third countries. Beautiful ceremony. Thousands of people gathered for the candlelight procession of the Virgin of Fatima in Portugal. Ukraine. The US calls the situation of the Ukrainian army incredibly serious. Zelensky blames the entire world for the failure of the Ukrainian troops. NATO says that Russia does not have the capacity to make a strategic advance in Ukraine. 12% of US aid to Ukraine is delinquent or unaccounted for, according to Defense Inspector General. The crisis in Ukraine highlights the gap between Russian and US electronic warfare capabilities. General admits. Spain. Spain denies stopover to a ship loaded with weapons for Israel. Employment in the tourism sector exceeded 2.8 million members in April, with an increase of 3.1%. The average daily price of a hotel room in Spain increases by almost 12%, reaching around 135 euros per day. The Spanish police deal hard blow to the Sinaloa cartel. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.